Hello, Hypno LA, and welcome back to another amazing presenter interview. Today, I'm really excited. I'm joined by a really good friend and a good colleague of mine, Alex Iglecia. And Alex is going to be here. He's going to present a little bit of a different flavor for the conference. And Alex, great to have you with us. It's an honor for you to be joining us at Hypno LA.
Thank you, Dell.
So, just to give a quick overview of Alex, who Alex is. So, he's actually got a master's in conscious evolution, the evolution of our consciousness. And over the past 20 years, he's been working at the intersection between embodiment and the narrative and the stories we tell ourselves. He's an author of 4 playfully yet very deep and profound books that have a whole host of hidden meanings. And yeah, he's going to be presenting story moves, mapping and embodying your client's archetypal journey. So thank you so much for coming to Hypno LA, Alex. I'm really excited for you to be there. And yeah, I'd love to hear more about your presentation. What are people going to learn from the presentation you've got put together for us?
Well, we're going to look at what's at the essence of a lot of different developmental models, and there's a lot of them, and there's a lot that have a lot of credibility, but there's sometimes not a really easy way to use it, and it's really difficult then to translate that into our own experiences. Just earlier today, I was listening to someone who has a lot of education, a PhD, and decades of study in the yoga arts, and she was talking about the need for a very practical map. Like, how do we identify where we are? And the question is like, well, where we are in what? What are we mapping? And so I got really interested in, if there's stages and phases of development as a person, as a culture, and we know that there's all sorts of ways to do a mind-body connection and work with that, then how do these things go together? And that's what I've been experimenting with and learning and teaching for a long time.
Got it. Because I know that you've got a background in a lot of different things. So, I mean, where did you actually start on this journey? How did you get into this whole space?
Actually, the way I did it is my wife and I went to a landmark education training before we were married. We were just dating. I didn't even want to go, but I knew I needed to. We went, didn't like it because it was kind of salesy, and ended up signing up, went through the whole program. And for my leadership piece, I launched a retreat called A Breath Away. And that really got me going because that thing that I was called to do, help people dive into who they are so they can return more of who they're meant to be, because of a book that I had found on free diving. And so I combined free diving with the movement and the other things. I've ended up basically living that and diving into who I am, return more of who I am to be, and then how to turn that into practices and how to collect all the different things we learn along the way and the relationships and the problems and the challenges. And so that's what really got me started in like transformation. And then basically it's been like, oh, what's real ever since that.
No, it's really interesting. And one thing that I know from you personally, Alex, is you're someone who really does the work and does the work on themselves. One of the big challenges I find with coaching and therapy, I mean, I always used to be the one working on people. I'm getting better at working with myself, but you really do delve deep. So, with this presentation around archetypes, what are you going to be? What are you hoping that the people on the class, what are they actually going to be able to take with them, either for themselves or for their clients? What are you hoping to unfold within that class?
Well, I think one of the most practical things is at the heart of the niche question. So niche means a lot of things, but what a niche should be and is a nest, right? It ought to be this place where we can raise our young, if our young were our clients. And so there's a lot of challenges to niche. And one of the things I think makes it very difficult is how we relate to it. And where our clients are in what journey and where we are in what journey. So if it was really practical and we're selling burritos, I'm selling burritos to people who want burritos, and we can look at where that is and what kind of burritos and who they are and price points and all that. But if we're selling transformation, there's a journey. What is that journey? Well, we know it's from birth to death, but what are the pieces of that? And then do we look at that practically, like how old they are? If they're 50, but they're struggling with inner child stuff, how do we see that? Well, we can actually see that at a story or an archetypal level really clearly. And that becomes fantastic for taking self responsibility of where we're at in our own process and journey with that, not skills, but in sort of a self development. And then where are we with our clients? Because if I'm if I'm thinking I'm in some place in my development and then I'm selling a particular skill like meditation, but I'm not really aware of where where people are at in their journey, not just with their skill of meditation, but their life journey, then there's all sorts of opportunities for mismatch. And that's going to come out as problems with messaging. And that's going to turn into problems with pricing and structure and resistance. And so I want that to be cleaned up. I've had such a hard time with that. And I've seen people with great things to do start to open their mouth and speak, and the people who need them run away. So that's the nature of what I want to deliver for this group is both some mapping and some information for themselves, but ways that's really practical for their clients, that's going to help them structure their programs and basically just get to do the work they love.
Amazing. That's really cool. I've never thought about it that way. As much as, yeah, people are in different, whatever somebody's problem, challenge, or what they're looking to invest in is, they're going to have different maturities, so to speak, within that. Like, if I'm starting off as a hypnotherapist, I might know nothing about business, and you're going to need very different tools to someone who's tried and tested a lot of things and needs some refinements. So that's really fascinating to look at it through that lens. Really exciting, and I'm looking forward to you bringing that. So, I mean, Hypno LA is going to be a really great gathering. What made you decide, actually, yeah, I want to come down to Hypno LA and check it out and present to the audience there?
Well, besides the fact that I grew up about half an hour away from Woodland Hills in the Moore Park and Ventura area, so I'm looking forward to visiting there again. I met you just about 2 years ago in
Yeah.
the Metaphors of Movement community, which is very adjacent and complementary to hypnosis and coaching and therapy. That was huge for me. That was a wonderful time in my life, getting to get into that work. And so with that, then I got to meet Lori with IEMT. And because I know those two pieces of work, I trust the vision that you both have that this is a conference that is grounded in something real, that has tools and is going to be bringing in people who have integrity, and that's the kind of place I want to be.
Well, thank you, Alex, and I'm really excited for you to be there. Final question before we go. Now, I know that you've delved into so many deep facets of the unconscious and all that sort of stuff. Final question for you is, what advice would you give people who are either more junior, more experienced, but what advice would you give people within this community? What nuggets of wisdom do you have to share?
Well, it's good. Okay, so it's going to be aligned with what we're going to go through. And here's the thing: all of us have boundary issues in some place of our life, right? So at an archetypal level, after we're an innocent child, then we need to figure out how to say no. And there's all sorts of ways that can go wrong. There's all sorts of ways that can become too extreme or compensated. But that if we don't get that part in some healthy way established in our body, in our mind, in our nervous system, in our skills, in our speaking, then when we're trying to be an entrepreneur or get clients, it's not just that we have boundary issues, it's that we have a stack of developmental things that we never got to play out. So it's not just that we need to go and heal our inner child. It's learn that developmental task and install it in yourself. And it can be really playful and fun to start being defiant. The Princess and the Frog story didn't conclude with her loving the princess and kissing the princess. Sorry, with her, the princess, kissing and loving the frog. She threw the frog at the wall out of defiance because she had made a bad deal out of her own innocence. And it was the defiance, it was the no, this is not right. I'm not going to do this to herself as well as to the world. It was that honesty that let her step into love and transform the curse. So I'm actually wanting everybody to not be mean, but find your authentic defiance, see where it can start to play out without causing too many problems, and then start to bring that into your work, how you're with clients. So defiance in a healthy way, also a little bit playful.
Love it. Beautiful, interesting angle. Well, thank you so much, Alex, for coming on today. I hope the audience have really enjoyed getting to know you, and I know you've got a wealth of knowledge, so I'm super excited for you to be with us in LA. And for those of you who have yet to sign up, there'll be a link below, so do feel free to click, sign up. We've got a lot of great presenters. It's all about there's going to be a lot of great presenters. It's all about practical application. So come down to LA and enjoy the fun. Thank you once more, Alex, and I look forward to seeing you there soon.